So namaste everyone, welcome to our Bank Holiday Friday practice. We're looking today at just really sort of continuing the theme of creating space and reconnecting. So we're going to take a slightly longer Savasana today and in the spirit of sort of trying to reconnect with the heart and the heart centre and self and our sort of looking after ourselves. We're going to look at using a weighted blanket. So I've got a really heavy blanket here. This is a really sort of comforting piece. So bring as many blankets as you think you need, heavy or light, to create enough weight on the torso and the body to give warmth, but also to settle you at the end of the practice. You won't need anything else, so just the blanket. So unusually today we're going to start standing. So we're going to bring ourselves into practice opening up the toes. See if you can really stretch through all 5 toes and just see if you can push down through each of the toes in turn. It almost feels like sort of piano fingering through the toes. Move around a little bit and just push each of the corners into the floor. Push the floor away and stretch up and shrug the shoulders around. So moving them around a little bit. See if you can free up anything that's lurking in the shoulder joint. Drop the shoulders down the back, start the hands and drop the hands down. Settle. Lifting the heart centre lightly and feeling the pectoral muscles and the collarbones and the shoulder blades sort of move apart at the front and then move together at the back. And just tuck the chin in and stretch through the top of the head. And so just find where you can sort of be nicely balanced with a nice straight sort of energy channel up and down the entire body. So breathing here, relaxing the bandhas for the moment, we're going to look at breathing and using the sort of diaphragmatic breathing. So breathing into the belly. Draw that breath up all the way to the top. And then tucking in the belly and breathing out. Focusing on lengthening the out breath with every one. So using the belly effectively. Bring the breath all the way up. And then tucking the belly in and pushing the breath out. Two more of these. Bring the breath high and wide. Keep dropping the shoulders down the back and breathing out. Breathing into the belly, all the way up, and breathing out. So we can start to bring the bandhas in. So that's tucking in your pelvic floor and tucking in your tummy. So tucking in Mula Bandha or Dhyana Bandha. And just drawing the energy up and in and bringing the breath higher and wider. So just close your eyes and focus on that sort of breathing for a moment. Ujjayi breath is also helpful here, where you start to close the soft palate of the throat, creating that sibilant sound, a nice aural hook to focus your practice on. So one more breath here, just focusing on making it as high quality as possible. So then when you're ready, we're going to take our sun salutation. So we're going to warm the body up slowly. It's going to be quite sort of staggered, so we're going to take it nice and easy. So keep the joints soft, knees soft, releasing the back. Don't feel that you have to go down to the floor. Take a deep breath in. Sweep the arms wide. Focus on opening the chest, starring the hands, drawing the shoulder blades together. Look up if it's comfortable. And breathe out. We're going to cave the chest, lower down and bend the knees. Place the hands on the shins. Roll the shoulders back once, twice, 3 times. Drop the shoulders down and in and drop the tail, bandhas in as you look up and extend through the top of the head. activating the back here. Lovely. Staying here if this is enough and softening it off, or breathing out and folding. Fold the arms momentarily just to change the centre of gravity here. Lifting the tail, bending the knees, banders in, dropping the head. Nod the head for yes. And shake the head for no. Gently does it just to create space in the neck. Release the hands, soften the knees off, push the floor away with intent as you grow the pose all the way back up, rolling the shoulders back and down as you open the arms up. Doesn't have to be high, it can be just wide. And breathe out, hands to namaste. We're going to do that again. Take a deep breath in, sweep the arms high and wide. They can be parallel to the side, they can be further up, or they can be quite low and open, you choose. And breathe out, soften, cave the back for the moment, drop the chest, drop the head, slide the hands to the shins, roll the shoulders back once, twice, 3 times. Notice any crunchiness, drop the tail, draw the energy into the banders and draw the shoulder blades down the back as you lift the heart, stretch through the top of the head. Breathing here, relax this off, soften it to a half pose, stretching forward, or breathe out, fold down. Lift the tail, stretch through the top of the head, lengthen. So if your hands are on your shins, you can take your hands to one side of one leg and turn, and the other side of the leg turn. Take your time, or if you're down low, drop the head and then just keeping the pelvis nice and straight. You're going to spin out to one side. Breathe here into the expanded side. And then carefully tippy finger your way over to the other side. Breathing here, keeping the pelvis nice and static. Breathing. Bring yourself back to centre, lowering down or stretching forward with hands and head. Hands on shins and head and heart parallel. Soften the knees, push the floor away, grow yourself all the way back up. Open the arms, open the heart centre. Flying lady. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears and breathe out. Hands to namaste. We'll add a little bit more on now. So deep breath in, sweep the arms. They can go higher now if you prefer, if not, keep them low. Breathe out, fold. To shins or to floor, your call. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out, fold. Place, stride right. Hold the right leg out. Find your position here. Soften the back knee, tent the front hands, roll the shoulders, lengthen, stretch through the top of the head. Grow the heart forward. Pushing back through the back heel, straightening the back leg, opening the hip. Breathing here, banders in, and keeping care not to force that back knee. Draw the energy up that leg back into the belly. Lovely. Breathe in, look up to get your nose out of the way. Soften that back knee off and bring that leg back through. Breathe in, extends, hands to shins is also fine. Breathe out, fold, soften, tented hands, left leg back. Find your position again, just soften it off, bring that the alignment just right, pushing down through the feet, roll the shoulders backwards, softening the knee off to start with as you grow the pose, then pushing back through the back heel and draw that back leg back into the body like you're sucking up through a straw. Banders in, breathing here. Just starting to get a bit of activity through the legs. Lovely. Deep breath in, look up to get your nose out of the way. Bring that leg through however you can. Stretch away, hands to shins or hands to floor for Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana. And breathe out, fold, or stay where you are. Breathe in, bend those knees. Push the floor away. Grow the pose. Arms can go high or wide or back, you choose. And breathe out. Taking it a tiny bit further, deep breath in. And breathe out. Halfway is fine, all the way is fine. Extend, breathe in. Breathe out, fold, place, stride right, stride left. High plank to low plank, knees down. Roll the shoulders back, drop the elbows back as you take the energy into the heels of the hands and lower yourself via low chaturanga to the floor. Drop the shoulders back and the elbows back and just grow the spine. Doesn't matter about the height, it's about the length, pushing the feet into the floor. Breathe out, fold. Tuck the toes, to keep the toes flat rather. Go through the knees. Go twice at it, so you're going to move back into a swan stretch here. Come back into the low plank position with the knees down, and then push back again. Knees together if you can. If it's easier for you, knees wide, and just draw the hands away, but not so far that the shoulders are up by the earlobes. You're going to bring those shoulders back in, star the hands, and stretch away. So the back is lengthening backwards, the bandas are tucked in, and you're quite small here. Soften these arms off if that's too much for the neck and shoulders. Lovely. Deep breath in. We're going to go back through that lunge position. So bring your hands forward onto your knees. Come up onto a high plank. Push back briefly now into a down dog. Lovely. Settling here. Make your adjustments. High heels, soft knees. Changing the hand position. Maybe bringing it in a bit. Flattening those hands. Draw the energy over the arms. Roll the shoulders away and lengthen. Can be really soggy dog here, and then deep breath in, look up however you want to. Bring this right leg through to the front into the high lunge position. So draw the energy in, look up, stretch away, lengthen, activate that back leg, pushing through the heel, pressing down through the toes and toes on both feet. Draw the energy up into the bandas. Change the position. So swap the legs over. If you're energetic, you can scissor, or carefully just swap the legs over. Make sure you keep your nose out of the way and stretch, lengthen. Again, if you want to make this low, that's absolutely fine too. Stretching away and lengthening. Breathing here. Lovely. Look up, bend the back knee, bring that leg forward. Extend, it can be halfway, it can be all the way. Soften it off, push the floor away. Wardrobe malfunction here. And lengthen out or up. And breathe out. So we'll spend a bit more time in our down dog now. I'm just going to lift these leggings up a little bit so I keep travelling down my legs. Okay, that's better. Okay, so take a deep breath in, sweeping wide and high. Breathing out, folding. Keep the back nice and long and settle yourself either halfway down or all the way down. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out, fold. Place stride left, stride right. To knees to floor or to chaturanga to your up dog. You decide. Roll the shoulders back. It's all about the length. Pressing the feet in, dropping the shoulders away, lengthening up. Don't worry too much about how high you are, just listening to the back. And then carefully does it, swapping yourself through to your down dog, saving your back, being careful, listening to the back all the while, using the bandas to support your 18-hour girdle, stretching away, lengthening. Drop the shoulders down the back. Soften it off if you need to. You don't have to be as active. Okay, you can keep high heels, soft knees. Just focus on the length. Find the dog that works for you today. Lovely. Deep breath in, look up. You're going to stride or walk forwards. Extend. Breathe out, fold. Push the floor away. Breathe in all the way back up Stretching up and breathing out. Lovely. So we've taken our sort of first cycle of sun salutations. We're going to add in some extra bits now, traditionally from sort of Surya Namaskar B, and we're going to make sure that we're finding the sort of proportions of the pose that's right for us. So if today you don't want to expend too much energy, it is a bank holiday, we want to sort of conserve our energy and our rest, create rest in the body rather than too much exertion potentially, then you can take these poses down a little bit. So take a deep breath in. I'm going to bring the arms wide rather than high. So breathing in, roll the shoulders away, grow the pose and extend. So you're drawing the elbows and the shoulder blades back and together. Open up. You can lengthen and lift the front of the body if you want to. Your call. And then breathe out. We're going to sink down. Press the feet and the knees together as we sink down into sort of flying lady Utkatasana. So getting your proportions just right. Finding where you can sit back down and turn sideways. You're going to bring yourself down into this S-shaped position. So the shoulders, the chest is fanning out, breathing open into the chest, stretching through the top of the head, tucking the chin in to lengthen, curling the tail under, and the bandhas are working hard here. There's constant sort of energy transfer up and down the legs. If the arms are too much, then bring them to the thighs or to Namaste. You decide. Go a bit lower if you feel you can. Breathing here, pushing down through the toes as well as the heels. You want to make sure you've got good even contact there between the feet. Breathing here, holding it longer than normal. Lovely. Breathe out, fold. So either hands to shins, stretch away, or breathe out, folding down. Breathe in, extend, and breathe out, fold. Then we're going to stride back with the right leg, leaving the left leg out in front. Lovely. Stretching here, lengthening. If you want to pop the back knee down, it's your call. You can take it high or low, you decide. So find where you need the biggest stretch. Push the floor away with both feet. Draw the energy up into the bandhas as you either go to that arm position again or take it further and go up and grow into the low Anjaneyasana lunge position. Breathing here. Draw the energy evenly up both legs to square the pelvis off. Bandhas working. Keep length in the back and breathe out, fold. Place. Striding up. Bring the knee, nose out of the way. Stride back into that other position. So left leg back this time, knee down if you prefer, your call, you decide. Push the floor away, drop the shoulders back, bring yourself up. There's a buoyancy to the pose to start with. Breathe in, open the chest, or take it up and find the position. Just check that knee is, the front is in the right position. Settle bandhas and then draw the energy up the legs. Breathing here, extending away. Breathe out, fold. Place the hands coming up off the back leg, going back this time to knees to floor or your chaturanga, sliding through to your up dog. Push the hands and the feet into the floor, lengthen away. Bandhas still working here. Tuck the toes under, push through to your down dog. Take a moment, spend some time here in your down dog, settling. And then we're going to bring ourselves into our warrior. So we're going to bring either the right leg out the back door, or we're going to lift it high and take it into more an expansive pose. You decide. And then bring it through to the front. Turn the foot position out at the back and flatten both feet. Knee above the ankle here. As you come up, you're maybe off to sort of 10-2, 5-2. Bring yourself up. And then as you straighten this back leg and push it into the floor, so if you can use that back leg to bring yourself round to the front. Again, wide arms, cactus arms. Namaste hands is also fine, or take yourself up fully into the warrior position. I'm not taking a big warrior today, focusing on opening through the back of the calves. So really looking at the engagement of the back leg and not going too deeply, so I lose that engagement. Breathing in here, breathing out, fold. Place up on the back toes, stride back to knees to floor or chaturanga, to your up dog. Sorry, I'm blowing hair off my mat. Draw the shoulders back and away, lengthen and lift, and breathe out, fold. Tuck the toes under, push through your knees, via a swan stretch if you need to your down dog. Settling, balancing yourself, drawing the energy up the left leg. So pushing the right leg into the floor, drawing the energy up, banders in, out the back door, or taking it up and higher and wider, lengthening away, and then through to the front. Bringing it through, finding where your knee was going to be in the ideal position, just above the ankle joint, and pop those toes out to the side, flattening the foot off, coming up maybe off to about 5 past, 10 past, and then turning back, pressing back through that back leg, settling into position, getting the pose just right, feeling engagement through both legs, and take yourself into the hand position that works for you. Dropping the shoulders away, keeping the back nice and long at all points. Breathing here. You feel nicely weighted and balanced between both legs. Both knees feel happy. The right hip is opening nicely, and there's a good bit of activity building strength around the core area. And breathing out, fold. Place, up on the back toes, striding back, knees to floor to your up dog, or through your chaturanga, and you're up to your up dog. Dropping away, popping the heart open, and then push back to your down dog. Settling yourself again, checking in. This time you can bring a bit of movement in, so staying for a moment, thinking about the bandhas and how they're drawing energy up into the centre, and then just dropping the weight down. Lovely. Draw that energy back up that straight leg, then swap it over to the other side. And latent sort of injuries, scar tissue, etc., other issues we've got from the lower back all the way down through the hip, knee and ankle, we're going to adjust and change how you do this pose. So just check in with how you're feeling, make your necessary adjustments. It's your yoga. Lovely. When you're ready, take a deep breath in, look up, stride or walk or hop or skip or jump forwards, extend, and breathe out, fold. And then when you're ready, soften, push the floor away, draw your energy out and back, open your chest. We'll be focusing on the heart center again, and breathe out. Excellent. So we've been through a couple of cycles here, incorporating some warriors. I'm going to bring in a bit more warrior work now into warrior 2 and humble warrior. So stuff that we started sort of really trying to get space into the back, opening the shoulders, but also then getting space into the lower back as well. So creating quite a lot of space there. So we're going to bring ourselves into position at the front of the mat. Take a deep breath in, sweep the arms up, and breathe out. Hands to namaste as we pick up the left leg and draw it back across the mat. Go as wide as you can manage this time. Notice how the hips are feeling, rolling the inner thighs out. Notice if this front knee is starting to drag in to the centre. So just roll the inner thigh out and activate that leg. Good contact between both feet so we're not moving forward and back. Push down through the legs, draw the energy up into the bandhas and drop the shoulders down the back. So you feel nicely weighted and stacked, and when you're ready you can bring the hands up into a sort of semi-position, or you can bring yourself up into more of a traditional position. drawing your gaze down that middle finger, whether your hands are up or flipped, and stretching away. Checking in with how you're feeling here, so that you're sort of getting the expansion, the length here, and a nice even connection between both feet. Lovely. So we're going to change the position. We're going to sweep the left arm forward and change the foot position. So we're now coming back into a shorter warrior one position. So more of a walking stance with the feet wider. Bending that front knee. Don't want it to be a mega humble warrior, but if you want to go deep and go with a high heel, that's your call. Take a deep breath in. And sweep the arms forward, drop the chin, stretch forward into position with the legs. And then breathe out, take the hands back and clasp the hands, using a scarf if you prefer, or just stretching the arms away behind you. Lengthening up and away. Plug in here through the back leg. And as you draw the energy up the right leg to keep the pelvis straight as you fold down. It can be with sort of semi, lifting the clasp and the arms away from the back, or bringing yourself over towards the thigh, or going further and stretching over and away, and being careful to keep your weight in your back leg like I'm not. Stretching away. Lovely. Plug back in through that back leg. Stretching and lengthening, tucking the chin in to lengthen the back of the neck. Then follow the clasp all the way back up. Oh, release it off. Builds a bit of heat as well, so just check in that you haven't sort of overdone it. And then carefully you're going to swivel and swap to the other side. So into our warrior two on the other side, settling yourself nicely. Dropping the weight down. Opening, rolling open the left thigh particularly, getting that balance just right, making sure you're nicely weighted between both feet, stacked over the pelvis. Drop the shoulders back, halfway house, settling and holding, or dropping the shoulders down and stretching away and finding that pose. Keep breathing here, drawing in, gaze point down through that middle finger. Lovely. And then change the foot position. So into that more walking stance, getting yourself plugged in. So facing forward now and getting the hips round if you can. Front knee will continue to bend. Cave and stretch forward, dropping the chin. And then bring the arms up. If you want to have them wide and open or clasped together, you decide. Roll and open, drop the clasp, plug in at the back. And then breathe out. Keep those arms drawing away as you stretch through the top of the head and bring yourself over as you're drawing that right hip forward and that left leg back, and settle halfway down to the thigh or down further. You decide. Keep well plugged in at the back here and stretching away. Keeping straight as best you can. So noticing if there's any sort of change through the hips or through the back or through the shoulders. One more breath here. Band is working hard as you push the floor away and bring yourself back up. Release the clasp, shake the arms out. Bring yourself back to the front of the mat. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to take some more side angle work here and wide leg work. So just checking in with how the hips and the lower back are feeling. Okay, you might want to just lift each leg and just think about placing your hands on your hips and see if you can check if there's any sort of particular sway as you march the legs. Not very fast, just check in with how the sort of pelvis is working today. Now we've started to open up things through the hips and the lower back. So carefully does it then. We're going to take ourselves into the side angle stretches. So we're going to stretch back through the right leg this time. So right leg back, left leg forward, front leg bent into our Parsvarkanasana, taking it to Trikonasana. So I'm going to reverse it deliberately this time. So wide angles here, same as warrior two legs, weighted nicely between both feet. I'm going to sweep the right arm high. Hopefully the shoulder's feeling good now after those humble warriors. Lengthening through the entire right side as we keep long through the spine. Energy transfer, zipping up and down the legs and into the bandhas as you lengthen and settle and stretch away. Keep stretching, keep lengthening. Keep breathing here. Obviously, if this isn't enough for you, you can take it down to whichever position you prefer. If you want to take the bind, please take this traditional position first and stretch and open, feeling the front of the pelvis opening, rolling the inner thighs out before you take the further bind. If you want to drop down and take it into the bind position. Breathing here, thinking about the spine, and that's through the neck and the top of the head, all the way down to the tail. When you're ready, carefully consolidate, push through that front foot as you bring yourself back up. Straighten that leg position at the front. Now we've been careful not to force back through that knee, so we're drawing the energy up into the belly. Draw as you're sucking the energy up the legs like a straw, and just check the alignment through the crest of the kneecap, running down to the second toe, so we activate these quads and all of the muscles of the leg in the right way. Drop the shoulders down. Again, it doesn't have to be wide, you can have the arms wide and sort of span yourself into an expanded triangle, bigger weight on the lower back. Keep it small if you prefer, low hands, and just slide yourself into position. It doesn't have to be a big pose, it doesn't have to have arms wide. You can just find where you can be happiest. Looking to get a meridian through the heart if you can get the arm up, or stretching, like I said, into an expanded pose, stretching way, lengthening, and into quite a big pose. So connecting into the floor, drawing energy up the legs, squaring off that pelvis, opening up and lengthening. Looking up if it's comfortable, breathing here, stretching away, energy zipping up all the while. Find where a triangle works for you, and when you're ready, soften it off, bring yourself back up. Swivel, so we're just going to swivel to the other side. Find yourself on the other side, so right knee, now right leg out in front. Soften and bring yourself over the ankle joint into those warrior two legs again. Check the alignment, that's not sagging at all. So the second side, sometimes, sort of really starting to get into opening the hip. Push down, take the energy up, stretch up and away through the left side. So the main focus of this pose is the length of the spine and opening up the left side of the body. Pushing the floor away actively and finding where you can settle. Stretching away, lengthening. If you're very comfortable here as the pose develops, then take yourself down to the floor and stretch away, keeping good weight through that back leg. So yes, lots of the body weight is over this front leg, but you're still pushing down through this back leg and taking it into the bind if you feel comfortable. Keeping the spine long, keeping the pelvis open, rolling the inner thighs out, and full engagement through both feet. Breathing. And when you're ready, you can bring yourself back out. Straightening that leg. Find where you can be comfortable. Check that knee isn't sagging in again, so make sure it's nicely aligned. Finding the small triangle which works for you. You might be just sliding down the leg, taking care not to hyperextend the knee, or it might be more of a big pose. So stretching away, lengthening and hinging, keeping the space in the waist here. So we're looking for length and looking for bandhas here and stretching away into your triangle position. Finding where you can settle and open up. Breathing here. Settling where you can. And then when you're ready, softening it off and bringing yourself back up. Lovely. Spin both feet to parallel now as we start to move down towards the floor. So we're going to bring the feet parallel, then just walk them in a little bit and fan the toes out. So into sort of horse stroke goddess. So fat cat horse pose. So toes out, knees are going to roll out, track the toes. So you might want to be even narrower just to make sure that you can get the knees out, tracking the toes. But as you go down, you want the toes to disappear underneath the knees. Okay, so find where you can be comfortable. Sitting down in this pose. So whilst we're going to take some shimmies shortly, we're going to sit up and then down. So we're looking for a straight back. So breathing in, rolling the inner thighs out, tucking the tail under, banda's working hard here as we push the floor away, but at the same time, sink the weight down. So it's almost like you've got a sort of sack of flour attached, if only you could get one, attached to your hips, attached to your pelvis, and sit down. Hands can be wherever, hands to namaste is nice, or hands resting on the thighs. Toes have disappeared under knees. Breathing here. Go a bit lower if you can. It's quite strong, so keep breathing. Keep engaging through all four corners of the feet and pushing the feet and the legs into the floor. You're engaging all of the musculature, particularly the bum. You want it all to work. You just don't want to sort of sit in mid-air and for them one set of muscles to just get tired. You want all of them to be working in combination. Breathing here. And then we're going to hinge forward. The tail will lift slightly, but keep lengthening the spine as we push into just above the knees. And then we're going to drop the left shoulder and stretch over to the right knee. The legs don't move very much. We're just dropping and lengthening. Back up to center. And breathe out, spin to the other side. You'll feel a stretch, possibly back through the back of the hip bone. Bring yourself back up to center. And stretching and lengthening, and then dropping the opposite shoulder to the opposite knee. Lovely. Trying to keep even weight between both legs. If you prefer here to take a sort of goddess fan, drop the tail, place the hand underneath the face and spin out. You can rest the hand on the lower back. Breathing here. Feel free to change it into fan position when you're ready. And you can then take fan position in these goddess legs and then spin into more of the Prasarita standard. Same side, stretching away. Drawing the energy up the legs and change the pose onto the other side, stretching away. So again, it's not a big pose, doesn't have to be massive. You don't have to be low. You can just shimmy from one side to the other if you prefer. Still getting that mobility and twist, but not pressing too much or indeed going down too low. Bring yourself up carefully, bend those knees to release the lower back and bring yourself back up. Carefully does it then. We're going to bring ourselves to seated. So we can jump the feet together and carefully sit down. Or if you want to take a half vinyasa at this point to bring yourself to seated via a up dog, down dog, that's up to you as well. So we'll all meet in Dandasana. So having opened up the body, maybe we're spending more time in our seated positions maybe. So it's good to just keep focusing on opening the lower back, opening the hips as much as we can, opening the shoulders. So our Dandasana position, pull the fleshy bits out, we've all got them, and sit the sit bones down. Push down through the floor, stretch up through the top of the head. Rest the hands on the thighs or at the side of the body, or if you want to, you can take fists. I quite like fists at the moment because it feels like I can just create more space in the lower back. So dropping the shoulders down, popping the heart through, stretching up through the top of the head. Draw the energy up the legs, so much so that the heels might leave the floor. Breathing here. Release. So again, a seated twist. Up to you whether you take the halfway version or the full version. If you want to take the full Marichyasana on both sides into the bent leg hip, then that's fine, Marichyasana A. Okay, that's up to you. We're going to take the half variation. So I'm going to spin sideways to show you. So this is where we're bringing the leg only halfway up. So instead of bringing it all the way up, like we usually do almost into the bottom, we're going to bring it halfway up. We're going to activate the left leg and push down through the right foot. Sit up nice and tall, and then we're going to catch over this knee. It might be that this knee caves in to get the elbow over it, and then we push back and use it to open up the twist. My hand is either tented or fist at the back, depending on how long your arms are. If your blanket's handy and you've got short arms, you can also bring that in as well. So into the twist, trying then to open up that knee and bring it back in line. So you want this bent knee to be in line with the hip joint and stretch up and away. Okay, if you can hold this pose, draw the energy into the bandhas, release this hand and bring it up for jazz hands. Great, keep breathing. Smile, it's all supposed to be fun. Yay! And release it off. Keep the back nice and long and tall as you engage and sort of disengage rather from the pose. Lost the ability to speak today. Swap the legs over. So I'll show it from the front this time. Going to bring that left leg up. Again, if you've taken full Marichyasana, that's absolutely fine. Hip distance apart, roughly speaking. So legs are nicely in line with the proportions of your own pelvis. Activate the right leg, push down through the left foot and sit up nice and tall. This knee will cave in for you to get the elbow across. Draw in, bandhas in, sit up, and then open up this knee and turn into the pose. Keep the height. You want the height in the pose to give the back space to do what it does best. Keep drawing the right leg in and keep pushing down through the left leg and breathing here. Bandhas in. Lovely. Then if you can, into the jazz hands position. Bye. Lovely. Keep breathing here. Excellent. And release off. Bring it back to center. Release the legs. Jiggle them around a little bit if you feel that the sort of knees in particular are starting to get a bit sort of crampy, tight maybe. Okay, just check in with your knees, make sure they're okay. So we're going to bring the feet in towards the body now. This is where we're going to start to bring the blanket in. So bring in your blankets, 1 or 2. Doesn't have to be very high, just has to be a slight lift on where you normally have your feet in your Baddha Konasana. Sofa cushion would just do as well. So you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Up to you whether you have the feet quite far away from the bum or whether you're working towards really opening the pose and bringing the feet very close in. If the knees rise, that's okay. So I'm going to hold onto the toes or the ankles, depending on how long your arms are. Draw the shoulders up and back and down the back. And then sit up out of the pelvis. We just try to let the knees flop down. Well, not flop, but just relax down to the floor. Bandhas drawing in. There is an effect here. So drawing the bandhas in helps to release other muscles around the pelvic area. So just helping to release and settle into this pose. Breathing here, using your bandhas to maintain your upright position. So if you lose the hands, the back doesn't collapse. Sitting up nice and tall. It's hard though. So breathing, pushing the feet, sit bones into the floor. Breathing here. It's a slightly different pose with the heels and feet higher up. And you can certainly see if there's any variation in the depth of your knees. I've had a tight right hip this week and I can see my right knee is creeping up higher than the left. And extending out. So up to you. You can take C, which is drop, and the expanded back. So if you feel like you need to create space and breathe into the kidneys, drop the chin and drop the whole chest and curl it down and in and hold and breathe into the expanded back, or into the flexion, or breathe into the extension. So stretching away, flattening the back, elbows in or out, doesn't matter, and lengthening away. The feet are a bit closer, but it's a different, slightly different action with the feet higher. So breathing here and drawing in. And again, you should be able to hold the pose when letting go, but gentle drawing in of this pose is okay. And I mean gentle. Breathing here
dropping the knees away, settling and releasing. Think about the space you're breathing into the hip area. So you can almost draw the breath up the legs into the hip, release off, it sort of circulates around a little bit, and then breathing it out through the soles of the feet again. Settling. Take it for a bit longer if you prefer, and then carefully bring yourself out. So we're going into a section of pranayama now. So I promised you a sort of a longer, deeper relaxation in this session than we've managed to fit into other sessions. So up to you. You can cover your legs with your blanket, or you can also place a cushion or the blanket underneath your bottom. So entirely up to you. So you can sort of perch yourself on the edge of the blanket or build yourself up a little bit higher if you prefer, if you feel that it's more comfortable to have yourself higher for your knees and your hips. Carefully bring yourself into a position where you feel you can settle. So again, looking to really sort of find that lovely alignment through the spine. So we want to feel that the energy flow and the breath can all flow freely, that nothing's forced and nothing's trapped and nothing's blocked. So just take the time to make sure that you feel comfortable where you are settled and nothing's going to distract you from your breathing. Okay, this is before we go into our settled Savasana. So rest your hands wherever is comfortable, on your knees, thighs, or cupped maybe in a more traditional method, so palm inside, hand inside hand, and the tips of the thumbs together, or find another mudra, if you know it, that suits you. So settle for a moment, and then we're going to move the hands shortly, so just find your breath. Bandhas are still lightly engaged here, just lightly, maintaining that long, tall spine. Ujjayi breath is a good idea if you're able to do it. Just breathing through the nose only, if you can manage. So at this point you will find yourself becoming distracted, and you have to almost absorb the sounds that you have around you into your practice. So not being distracted by them, but almost sort of sound deadening, if you like, where you feel sort of sound disappears into a vacuum, it doesn't travel. So we just want to sort of draw the sounds in and not let them go any further, not let the mind sort of hook onto them. So when you're ready, you're going to change your hand position into more a sort of bird-like shape, if you like. You can bring the thumbs together if you prefer and have sort of bird-like shape, or you can just rest the back of one hand in the palm. I'm going to bring the hands directly over the heart center. So it won't necessarily be over to the left above where your heart actually is. Your heart center in yoga is situated dead center in the chest, where this sort of space is naturally created between the ribs and the pectoral muscles and the collarbones. So rest the hand over, dropping the shoulders down and tucking the chin in. And we're going to say our mantra 3 times here. So as we breathe and we're focusing on the feeling of the breath into the chest, the rise of the lungs, and then the releasing of the lungs, the moving of the belly, the moving of the diaphragm, and those ribs and intercostal muscles. We say to ourselves 3 times, with great respect and love, I honour my heart, my inner teacher. With great respect and love, I honour my heart, my inner teacher. With great respect and love, I honour my heart, my inner teacher. So when you are ready, and take your time, you can move into Savasana. So finding a position that works for you, either on your side, supported on your back, maybe with cushions or extra blankets, and then bringing your weighted blankets, pillows, however you're going to find something to settle under onto the body. So we're just going to settle ourselves down onto the floor. Get yourself, take the time to get yourself into position. Find where this blanket can be most effective. Most of the weight should be over the axial skeleton, so the torso, but it's still comforting to have that weight over the legs too. So find when you can be comfortable in your Shavasana with the weighted blanket. If you feel that you need more weight over the body, then bring the weight up over the body. Take the time to get yourself settled. And you want to feel that you're being gently pressed into the earth. So it's not a question of being squashed or confined. And if you feel squashed or confined, then you've got too much weight on. You need to find where you can have the weight, where you're going to be switching into sort of proprioception of the pose, where you feel how each part of the body is responding. So when you're settled, let the body go. Make your final adjustments to any part of the body that feels like it needs a bit of extra help. And let the body go. Turning your attention to your breath as the body releases to gravity. Tuning into the heart center and filling that area with breath and light and space. Taking the breath down through the left shoulder into the left arm, left forearm, left hand, breathing into the left arm. Moving your attention to the right shoulder, down the right arm, forearm, into the right hand, breathing into the right arm. Taking your attention now to your belly. And is released and breathing here deeply into the belly. Feeling the breath coming in and the breath going out. Feeling the breath coming in around the waist and into the back. Taking your attention into your right hip and taking that all the way down the thigh through the right knee, the right shin and calf, the right ankle and the right foot, breathing into the right leg entirely. Taking your attention now to the left hip, down the left thigh to the left knee, the left shin, the left calf, the left ankle and the left foot. Breathing now into the left leg. And taking your focus to your Mula Bandha, and then the source of all life. Taking the breath in through Mula Bandha and out. Taking your attention now to the space just below the throat, in between the collarbones, at the base of the throat. Breathing here, settling, and the throat and the neck relax. Taking your attention to the space between the eyebrows. Your third eye, Bhrumadhya. You can feel a sense of warmth and light, starting here and spreading across the forehead, the face and the top of the head. And then taking your gaze above the top of the head. Drawing light and warmth to this space so that it then shines over the entire body from above the head. This crown of light covering the body in warmth, and the whole body now, the whole body settling, releasing. The whole body, light and warmth and space. Taking a sense now of your whole body, the shape and space that you take up on the earth, the weight of you. The imprint that you leave. Tuning into your breath, the life-giving force, giving your sacred vessel life. And now as we turn our attention to the sound of the singing bowl, we start to bring ourselves from the depths of our relaxation slowly back up into the room, very slowly. As you find yourself back in the room, wiggle your fingers and your toes to bring a bit of life back into your limbs. Moving very slowly and carefully to hug the knees into the chest if you're not supported under your back, to release your lower back from lying directly on the floor, or roll onto your side and hug your knees into your chest. And very gently bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands back to your heart center. Breathe into your hands. Tuning into your heart, your inner voice. With great respect and love, I honour my heart, my inner teacher. All the things you know to be true are here, not here. Have a lovely long weekend, everyone. Thank you and namaste.